Today there are 5 new cases of COVID-19 to report, made up of 2 new confirmed cases and 3 new probable cases. That brings the combined total of confirmed and probable cases in New Zealand to 1,456. Of the new cases we are reporting today, 1 is linked to overseas travel, 3 are linked to existing clusters, and 1 is still under investigation, but it's possibly linked to overseas travel. Sadly, however, we're also reporting the death of a man in his 60s who was a resident at Rosewood Rest Home and Hospital in Christchurch. He is the 2nd resident from the hospital level wing of Rosewood to pass away. This man had underlying health conditions and was considered to be a probable case of COVID-19 based on his exposure history and clinical symptoms. This man, sadly, is the 10th person from the Rosewood cluster to pass away. This illustrates once again the impact that this disease can have on vulnerable people. Every person we lose to COVID-19 is a tragedy, with family and friends left without their loved one, and our thoughts are with them all at this time. There are now 1,095 reported cases of COVID-19, which we can confirm have recovered, and that's an increase of 30 from yesterday. Today there are 8 people in hospital, and that total includes 1 person in the ICU in Middlemore. We still have 16 significant clusters, but only 1 new case attributed to one of those clusters. In total, we have 379 people who are recovered from COVID-19 who were considered to be part of a significant cluster. And just lastly, in terms of testing, yesterday we completed another new record of daily tests at 6,961 tests, bringing us to a total of 108,238. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. McElnay. First, I want to add my condolences to the family and friends of the person who has passed. Each death from COVID-19 is a person who was loved and whose family are dealing with grief and of death in the most trying of circumstances, and our heartfelt thoughts are with them. As we move towards Anzac weekend, I want to take another opportunity to thank New Zealanders for their extraordinary efforts in helping us position ourselves to be able to control COVID-19. This weekend is a chance to reflect and acknowledge the sacrifices that have been made by those in wartime. It is also a chance to reaffirm our commitment to one another that we will get through this crisis together. Our ongoing vigilance for the remainder of Level 4 and for Level 3 are critical to successfully finishing the job that we have all collectively started. Today, I want to talk briefly about the changes we can expect to see in the economy as we move into Level 3 next week, and how this shift fits within the government's wider economic response to the impacts of COVID-19. Our economic plan to respond and recover consists of 3 waves. The first, fighting the virus and cushioning the blow. The second, positioning for recovery and kickstarting the economy. And the third, resetting and rebuilding our economy. The first wave has obviously been underway for some time. The best economic response to the virus was always going to be a strong public health response, and that's why our strategy from the start has been to go hard and go early. Getting the virus under control now means we can get our economy back to normal sooner and ahead of many other countries who continue to experience the devastating effects of the virus. We've put in place a safety net for as many Kiwis as we can. We can see the impact in the numbers that are part of our weekly economic update released today. Applications for the job seeker benefit have lifted by 30,000 since the 20th of March. This is a distressing time for all of those people. We have to bear in mind, though, that this represents less than 1% of our total population and is dwarfed by the 1.6 million people who are being supported by the wage subsidy scheme. These immediate measures mean we are all in a better position to bounce back on the other side of this crisis. I want to emphasise that from the outset we have worked alongside businesses in the development of our response, and we will continue to do so as we move through the waves. Rob Fife and his fellow business leaders have leveraged their resources and networks to provide critical assistance to our all-of-government response. Business New Zealand, the Council of Trade Unions and other sector groups have advocated hard for their members, providing useful insights and advice, and I want to thank them for that. We've worked closely with retail banks and the reserve banks to ensure the worst affected businesses and households are supported. This has been a true New Zealand Inc. effort in fighting a once-in-a-century social and economic crisis, and we will be continuing to draw on the good ideas from people of all walks of life as we move through the further phases of our recovery. The second phase of our recovery you will see more of next week. This, as we move into level 3, will see more parts of the economy open up. Construction, forestry, manufacturing, online retail, restaurants and cafes that can provide contactless pickup and delivery, all will be able to resume activity with the appropriate safety measures in place. This means around 400,000 more New Zealanders will return to work under these conditions, providing a real boost to them and their communities. This year's budget will devote much of our resources to positioning for recovery and kick-starting the economy, and I'll have more to say about that on Budget Day. The third wave of our work is ensuring that we have a robust and regenerated economy when we come out the other side of this process. This means looking at some of the long-term issues and challenges we have had, such as productivity, sustainability and inequality, and positioning ourselves to tackle them with renewed vigour and determination. To finish today, I just quickly want to talk about two matters of interest that we have made media releases about. Firstly, Minister Sepuloni and I have released information about the audit of the wage subsidy scheme. The scheme has paid out $10.3 billion to protect jobs and support the incomes of over 1.6 million New Zealanders. We know that the vast majority of New Zealand business owners would access the scheme as we intended it, to protect jobs, support workers' wages and stay connected during the lockdown. It's great to see these 99% of business owners doing right by their workers. We owe it to those workers and employers to make sure their good work isn't undermined by anyone abusing the scheme. We also have a duty to all New Zealanders to ensure taxpayer money is going where it is intended to support the economy. From the start, applicants to the wage subsidy scheme were told that they would have to repay the subsidy if they provided false or misleading information in their application. They were also told that they may be subject to civil proceedings for the recovery of any amount received that they were not entitled to and/or prosecuted for offences under the Crimes Act. Assurance and audit processes put in place by MSD to support this work are being overseen by a team of 104 fraud experts and investigators. The audit process will identify cases that require investigation. So far, MSD has completed 2,435 random and targeted audits. 2,252 of these have been resolved, and additional review of 183 cases are currently being undertaken. 292 allegations have been received about misuse of the scheme. MSD has resolved 88 of those allegations, while the balance are still being worked on. As at 21 April, 1,281 applicants had voluntarily advised that they wanted to refund all or part of their subsidy. This has led to $16.2 million of refunds requested, and around $7 million of that has already been refunded. As at 21 April, our auditing had resulted in 56 applicants being asked to refund either all or part of their subsidy. A total of $1.25 million has been requested from these applicants, with $168,000 already refunded. We will keep you updated on these statistics in the coming weeks. And finally, wearing my other hat, Sport New Zealand will this afternoon release detailed guidance on sport and recreation activities that are possible under Level 3 from next Tuesday. It remains important to remember, under Level 3, that the core principles of staying in your bubble, staying local, and only undertaking low-risk activities remain. As we have previously announced, there is a little more flexibility for travel for recreation under Level 3, but we ask that this is only undertaken to the extent that it is necessary. Similarly, more recreation activities are now possible, such as some fishing and non-motorised water sports close to land, hunting on private land, and the very limited playing of some sports such as golf and tennis. Full details are available on the Sport New Zealand website. We do encourage people to stay fit and active during this time, but be responsible, do not put yourself or others at risk, do not congregate, and please do not put the amazing gains that we have all made under level 4 at risk.